Max Holloway proved that he is still the standard in the featherweight division outside UFC champion Alexander Volkanovski on Saturday when he defeated Arnold Allen by unanimous decision in the UFC on ESPN 44 headliner. A vintage performance of sorts from Holloway. The output was there, a little more defensively sound in this fight, was able to get the points and the movements and the shots off on Allen, and that led him to the win on the scorecards, a huge bounce-back performance after falling to 0-3 in head-to-head matchups with Volkanovski this past summer. A lot of questions about Holloway, where he was in his career, where he's going to be. Allen, of course, had a 10-0 record in the UFC coming into this fight and was a huge test, maybe in some people's minds, Holloway positioned to be a stepping stone, but he turned all those narratives away with a very clean performance in this fight, and I think one he should be very happy with going forward. And it sets him up for a good future regardless. Of course, all eyes will be on the featherweight title unification bout between Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez coming up this summer at UFC 290 on International Fight Week. Rodriguez, if he is able to force a title change, we know Holloway has the win over him, and that kind of changes the whole world for Holloway at that point in terms of what's possible in terms of getting a title shot. So a big result will come out of that fight in terms of Holloway's future, but as far as the shorter term, I really like to see him get excited about the possibility of fighting the Korean Zombie at the post-fight press conference. A reporter brought up that Holloway had been mentioned by Korean Zombie multiple times for a fight between them. I know that they had been discussing that as a potential main event when the UFC was close to going to South Korea last year, and I think now is probably the time to do it, maybe the last time you can do it. We know Chan Sung Jung is a little bit on the tail end of his career here, probably not many more fights to go, but Holloway had given his excitement talking about this matchup, how he's wanted it for so long, how Chan Sung Jung is really one of the only guys of his initial era in the UFC that he never got to fight, and he's always wanted to have that one, even potentially mentioned a location when the UFC returns to Australia, likely later this year. So it makes all the sense in the world to me. That would be back-to-back wins if Holloway can get the victory, and I think that would line up well with the title fight, and then we can see where all things go forward at featherweight from here. So to me, that is the one that makes sense. Two big names that could headline any UFC fight night, co-headline a pay-per-view, whatever you may want to do in terms of positioning on a card. But for me, if Holloway wants a fight and he's specifically mentioning something for him and it makes sense, Korean Zombie the only guy in the top 6 or so that he hasn't fought, to me that's the fight you do.